Hello, everyone. Welcome on into tonight's live stream.
What's up?
I guess it helps if I played the right intro and not the outro first.
Correct.
Because I actually played the outro, but we got it right. So how you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I am well. Been a crazy day today. Just running all over the planet.
I see. And with me, just work.
Yep.
So let me move this camera because it feels like I'm a little low and high. How you ever going to see it? So you can see me better, not hidden by the name title.
Yep.
So tonight we are talking all about traveling with children. I know. Who wants to travel with children? Because it's a lot of work just to travel with them. But before we dive in and start talking all about this amazing topic, let's welcome in people into the chat. First into the chat was KK Travels, but unfortunately their comment did drop. They were in like 2 something in the morning. So welcome on in for being number 1. Next in the chat was, of course, Cruising on the High Seas and Travel. Followed by Armstrong. My bad. Webster. I'm not thinking what I'm thinking. I don't know why I'm thinking of Armstrong. But welcome on in. And it's okay that you typed in the wrong next week's live stream. It's all good. Because next week's live stream will be a very good one too. As every live stream is always a great one.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I haven't seen this guy in my chats for a very long time. So let's put our hands together for another Texan person who also works for Carnival Cruise Lines, traveling with Nick.
What's up, Nick? Yep, you get confetti and balloons. Good evening. Welcome in.
Welcome on in. And hope you're doing well. And hopefully one day I will get to meet you in the great state of Texas.
That's right.
So, traveling with children. How easy is it for you, Jeremy, to travel with children?
It's easy. It's easy for me because the one child, each child gets their own bag, and therefore they are responsible for their own bag. My kids are well aware that I will not be dragging extra bags around because I have enough of my own. And because of that, they make it really easy to travel with. Their bags are smaller. Their stuff is lighter. You never have to worry about their bag being overweight. There's a lot of positives.
Yeah, and let's just hold that part. Bag never being overweight.
Correct.
Now, that can have a great benefit if you're flying. Because you can put some of your stuff,
correct,
their stuff, to offset the weight balance.
If it'll fit.
If it will fit too.
Yeah, if it'll fit, for sure. But those smaller bags generally are full, and they only weigh like 30 pounds. So that's really good for them. Now, as far as dealing with the chaos and hassle of getting more people ready in the mornings, that could present to be a challenge. It all depends on how late you stay up at night, and things like that. But overall, it's a good experience because you get to see the little faces light up whenever they go to new places and see new things.
Yes, and true. And for me, I got no kids, but I got nieces and nephews.
Mm-hmm.
And depending upon what your situation might be, everyone's situation is naturally totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they may only be trying with mother or father. They might be trying with their grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of all that stuff, you need to also factor in potentially, do you need consent, permission from the other guardian to say it's okay for you to take them here.
You do. It is in the cruise contract normally that you do need a permission letter from the parent. And as a travel advisor, I always let people know it is in your best interest to get that parent's permission, as well as put together with a form like a temporary guardianship form. That way, in the event a medical emergency happens with their child, you need their permission with you in writing for that medical attention that they might need.
Yeah.
And also for Homeland Security, it's like, hey, whose kid is this? So it's like you're going to need a letter, from the parent. And it might be good for you to have, some kind of medical power of attorney or a legal document that says it's cool for you to do that.
Yeah. And even some very rare, it does happen sometimes. The grandparents could have sole custody of the grandkid.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and then that brings up the court documents and all that stuff. But
right,
that's one extra piece with traveling with children.
Yep.
Is that you need to have that piece. And sometimes you may be asked it. Other times, they don't care. Just continue on.
Yep.
I guess it all depends upon the mood they're in and if they see you very often or not.
Well, they also got different policies too. Armani says that NCL and Carnival, they have different policies. We checked it out, and they do. With Carnival, they wanted a whole letter, but with NCL, that wasn't the case. They said as long as that's your kid, you can come on with them.
Yeah,
and that's it. But you do definitely have to read your cruise contract and the policy on traveling with children who are not your own.
By far, and then once you are finally past all that document stage and all that ugly stuff, hopefully we can dive into the much more funner stuff, like getting them signed up for like the kids club or the teen club or whatever club they are entitled to be a part of, using the fact that we're cruising.
Yep. Well, in light of a lot of news stories that we have reported, in light of a lot of news stories that we have reported, it has been, our eyes have been opened as far as how really these cameras are not being watched by the people watching our most prized possessions or our most prized people, which is our children. No one's watching the watcher. And there is supposed to be a system in place to watch people who are responsible for people. I do believe that anybody who has a supervisory position, especially dealing with kids, should also have a pair of eyes on them as well.
Correct.
Because it was made known that clearly that is not the case on a lot of these cruise lines. So you really have to use your own discretion. We have used the kids' clubs before, and the kids had a wonderful time. But unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, not the world as it should be. But there's nobody watching the watchers.
Yeah, and that is terribly very sad to hear.
Yep,
that's going on. Like when I've been traveling with my niece and nephews, and I just want to welcome in Globee Bees Travels.
Hey guys.
When I've been traveling with my niece and nephews, even when they were a little young, 5, 6 years old, if not younger, and then of course getting older as they grow up, we have yet, and knock on wood, we have not ever had an issue yet. And also, I doubt we will now at this point of stage, but the sad part is it's still happening, and we need to shed light on it and saying, hey, what's going on? Clean up your act.
Well, also consider that there is safety in numbers. So if the kids club is busy, I would like to say you're pretty well safe because there's people around. But let's say it's getting toward the later part of the night, you really need to go get your kid, because the less kids that are there, the more opportunity people have to mess with them. Unfortunately, this is the new language that we have to speak. There's safety in numbers.
Correct.
If there's a lot of kids there, then you can be rest assured that opportunity won't arise for those who feel that way, that they can just mess with kids. But you know, just make sure use your brain. If there's not but one kid in there, chances are they're going to be leaving sometime at some point, because they were already there whenever your kid arrived. But if there's a lot, then
You should be safe.
you just have to use your discretion, and don't leave them there all day.
Oh gosh, no.
Leave them in there for a reasonable amount of time, and then go get them, go pick them up, because you don't want a whole lot of time being spent away from you.
Correct.
Because it is their vacation, you want to show them some nice things and a nice time as well.
That's correct.
While at the same time looking out for nefarious things happening on the ship.
Yeah, like even with my youngest nephew, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I would allow him to run off to the kids club every so often.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always arrange at least one time every single day where we will go up and we'll start shoot some hoops.
Yep.
And we would normally play 21, which you know what 21 is, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like for the ones that don't know, you just basically gotta break the ice and then just shoot the hoop, and wherever the ball lands, that's where you're shooting from. In a nutshell.
Yep.
But we would sometimes he would beat me, other times I would beat him, and sometimes I would just allow him to beat me because I'd be winning all the time. So it's all what you gotta do.
Also, the kids that are allowed to sign themselves out of the kids club as well. As a parent, I really didn't allow my kids to do it because they're so young. But at some point, it's going to come the time to where they're going to be allowed to sign themselves out.
Correct.
And the way I look at it, if you're going to allow them to sign themselves out, that's giving them a ticket to run up and down the corridors and the things that we talk about there on the show that annoy people. As a responsible parent, either have your kids with you, or let the kids club do their thing, not everywhere in between, because kids are running around the ship everywhere, and causing a lot of issues. I think on the Prima there was a little kid that pressed all of the buttons on the elevator.
Oh no.
Something like that. Yeah, it was just pretty bad, because kids
YouTubing?
Get my YouTubing. Yep. And I would say about 6 or more months ago, I can't recall the ship, but it was off a balcony, and some kids decided to go climb from one balcony to another balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as a parent, you are responsible for that.
Yep.
And
that carries a hefty fine, as well as expulsion from the cruise line, a total ban from the cruise line. So that you run that risk whenever you let your kids run wild and they are unsupervised.
And go ahead.
And traveling with kids, also, you got to know that the cruise line has very strict and stringent rules regarding how that vessel should be respected as well. You might respect cruising, but the kids is just like, okay, we're on a big boat and we can just go all over the place. Well, they need to be educated on where they can and cannot go, and why they can and cannot go or should not go. It is a paramount responsibility as a parent that you need to pay attention to. If that is expected of you, then it's definitely expected of your kids. And if your eyes are not on your kids, somebody's is. There is a camera around every turn, and the parents are being held responsible.
Yeah. Now I can't speak for Carnival's side of it because I've never cruised with a kid on Carnival, and with the raspit of things going as of right now, that's not going to happen. But the question I have for you would be is, because I'm assuming you have traveled with your kids on Carnival before.
Yes.
When you've tried to get off the ship with them, when they tap their card, does it beep?
Yes.
So it's same familiar as when you were on the Prima.
Mm-hmm.
It beeped at you. For the kid, and then they have to make sure that is an adult with them. So the cruise lines do protect the kids from getting off the ship without an adult, and they will be turned back if they don't have that adult with them.
Yep.
And it would be an adult that has to be tied in the room with them.
They have to be in the same stateroom, like
or at least tied together.
Yeah, like if you're in a room and your nephew's in another room with somebody else, you would not be able to bring him on and off the ship. He would have to go with the person that he is in the stateroom with. They're tied on that policy.
Okay, no, because the way how we had it done was the two staterooms, we had them tied together.
Right.
So even though I might be in one stateroom and he's in the other stateroom, I can still get him off because the staterooms are tied together.
Wow.
Yeah. So that you can tie the staterooms together, at least with Norwegian.
Yep.
You're allowed to tie them together.
I would be interested to think maybe they did that on the Paradise too. I don't know. We don't have two rooms though. It wouldn't be possible to check it out. But we're going Norwegian again in December. I know that the twins are going to have an amazing time. Let's talk about some of the activities that are on the ship just made for kids.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yep. Besides the splash pad and the water slides and all of these good things, there is also laser tag for older kids. I didn't know this. Like on Norwegian, they have this laser tag thing, and also the putt-putt golf. They charge for the putt-putt golf on the Prima. They didn't do so on Carnival. Like all of the Carnival ships that we went on, the putt-putt has always been complimentary.
Correct.
But there's an interactive putt-putt golf course on the Prima. And if you enjoy it, it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of interesting things because every hole is interactive and it puts a challenge out there, if you will, for each hole. But that's something fun for the kids to do. And if you are not scared of heights, there's also a ropes course on most
on most vessels.
On most vessels, and then you have these slides. We got to let the viewers know what the height requirements are for most rides, and for most things is 4 feet. It's 48 inches. If you are coming in a little under, they will not let you on those rides or those slides unless you as an adult are with them. Now, my older daughter tried the ropes course, and they said we need somebody to help nudge her along, and when they were strapping her in, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm not exactly too good with heights. Well, she went out about 12 steps and she came on back. It's just something that whenever you're ready, then you can do that. Another good thing on the Disney ships, there are what is known as like a roller coaster on water. You're floating, but then you're going up and down hills across the ship. Around it's some wonderful things for kids to do on the ship. Not to mention the arcade. Now, the arcade is expensive, And also, as part of the check-in process, you can set a spending limit on your child's account. With their Sail and Sign card, you can set a limit as to how much they spend. And I think that's really cool of the cruise lines to include that as an option, because I had to set spending limits for all three of the kids whenever they came, because it's coming off of my card.
Exactly. And actually, there's no rollover. So, like, say the magical number is 10. If I don't spend 10 today, it means I get 20 tomorrow. No, it's still 10.
It's still 10. Yep. That limit, whatever you set, is that limit.
And with Norwegian, it was basically unlimited or they're cut off. And we always put them at cut off.
Right.
So if they want something, they need one of our adult cards to do it. So we know about it. But no, we would always get him like the arcade package, which gave him like certain games he could play within inside that package.
Yep.
So, and there would be no extra cost to it because it's paid for already. So, my nephew's quite cool with having that package. And of course, every so often I will take him up there and we'll play some games and maybe do a couple rides because they do have some rides up there too. So it's pretty cool. But with the putt golf that you were talking about, when I was on the Viva, we actually got to do it 2 times, but the first time was free because the system was down, so they couldn't charge us for it.
Nice.
But we had to keep track of our own score. So it wasn't too bad, but we still had some fun.
Yep.
And of course, I'm sure the Prima also had it, was darts.
They had darts. Oh, Armani says, talk more about the arcade package. I did not know about that.
So the arcade package, I believe the magical color is green. But clarify with the cruise line what that magical color is. Because there's going to be like two colors. And with that magical color, when you swipe your card, I think you get to swipe every like 5 minutes or something like that. And it's unlimited for the whole entire cruise. So, but you get no tickets for prizes. Where the ones where you have to pay for, like where it's going to give you a ticket, so you can redeem a prize in the end, that's not part of the arcade package.
Oh, okay.
So the choices of games are pretty great, I find. Like there's a lot of great options, I find. So like I'm satisfied with it. But now naturally I'm not going to buy it for myself, and my nephew has it. We're just going to share as one and be done with it. So
they don't mind you. They don't mind you sharing the arcade package.
No, they don't mind because he's always up there with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So let's just jump right back into the chat for a few minutes because a few more people jump on in. Hello, the Cruise Nuts.
Cruise Nuts.
How are you doing?
What's going on?
And our dear friend Nick P. 2 more weeks till Canada.
We got to warm up. It's so cold.
Nick, because right now, it's cold.
Yes, still cold.
We're still cold up here. So dress a little warm but where you're going, you need to dress warm because they're just about to become cold.
Yep.
And then he's also going to be traveling across Canada pretty much from Toronto all the way over to Vancouver to fly down to Brisbane.
Mm.
So that's going to be like a 4-day train ride across the
There we
country.
go. Nick said he's from Minnesota. He can deal with the weather. I can't. That is cold to me.
Yep, and that is actually. Are you going out of MSY? Is it MSY? I think it's MSY. Is the airport code in Minnesota? But are you going out of Minnesota International? If so, that is one of the other locations that my company is based out of. MSP.
MSY sounds familiar. That is
MSY would be
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
That's why it sounds familiar.
I knew MSY sounded very familiar, but is
Yeah.
is it Minneapolis or is it New Orleans? Because I knew.
New Orleans.
Yes. Yes. So MSP. Yeah. So yeah, my company's also out of Minneapolis. So check them out. We're right at the gate holes.
Yep.
So Nick is saying I am lucky flying from Minneapolis to Toronto. It's only 2 hours. So by the time they're cruising, it's almost time to land. that is so true. When I was taking off to LaGuardia back in, I think it was 15. Not to go off topic a bit, but we literally just got up in the air, and all of a sudden we hear prepare for landing. It's like, what do you mean? We just got up in the air. Literally, it was quick service, quick drinks, and they come around, clean up, and down we go. So those quick flights are nice, and referring that towards with traveling with children. Sometimes that is a great way to travel with them if they don't fly that well, because sometimes they may not like to fly. Have you ever had that issue before?
We haven't flown with the kids just yet, but for 2.0, one of them's going to be with us, so that'll be her first flight.
Yep. Yeah, like with one of the nieces I have, she doesn't like going. I believe it's down. Going up doesn't bother her, but going down bothers her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not on children. It can even be on grown adults too. They don't like that. It's basically the air pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That where it starts hurting your ears. So, but
Yep.
I find it's more children that sometimes will experience that issue. Nick is saying, but Delta only uses the regional jets between MSP and YYZ. There's not enough demand for the bigger jets between our two airports. Yeah, that is correct. There's not a big enough demand to be holding it, but trust me, we can handle those big jets.
Yep.
Because we are a massive airport. So we can take those big birds. But yeah, no, like there's many great things that you can do with the children while traveling, but of course it naturally will come with a lot of responsibility. And sometimes the grown-ups don't realize how much responsibility it comes with. They just say, okay, be back by this time and stay out of trouble.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're still on the hook.
Yep.
To keep an eye on them. And yes, you're on vacation, but you need to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep. You're a parent before you are a vacationer for sure. So the parental responsibilities, I would like to say they increase whenever you're traveling. Um, it doesn't. It's not an easy time. Um, because you're just hyper vigilant looking around, and these are once again people that you're not used to being around. You're from, everybody's from everywhere, and people are having a good time, but also you got to consider the crowd that you're around. On the NCL, I was a little less over than I was on Carnival. Because people weren't acting all loosey goosey and stuff, and they were actually acting more mature, and they carried themselves a lot better on Norwegian than they did on Carnival. So it's kind of like you got to match the vibe with your parenting as well. It's like we can either have this nice relaxed cruise experience on NCL, or we could be on pins and needles on Carnival. Well, it really does depend on which cruise line you're on, and how big the ship is another thing. If your kids are exercise people, um, there are ships that can wear them out. They got a free zip line on the Oasis class ships, and there's a rock climbing wall, and there's a jogging track on every single ship. So if you got energetic kids, there's some stuff for them to do.
Just to burn the energy, like even for me, like I'm energetic, but even the small ships can just burn me out because there's so much to do.
There's dodgeball. There's all kind of activities for kids to do.
Yeah.
And also the children's programming that they play in the stateroom as well. There are some not pay-per-view, but there's also pay-per-view movies in the stateroom as well. There are some pretty good kids movies that play, especially from the free selections, the family and kids movies. They got, a whole lot of stuff available from what I've seen on Norwegian as well as Carnival. They got a really good selection on the movies. What I was impressed by Norwegian Prima is that they had some Disney movies on.
Nice.
Yes, they had Disney movies on, even though it wasn't the Disney Channel or whatever. I don't know how they got the licensing to do it, but they did play some Disney stuff on that ship. And then, Baby says, we always download movies for the kids to watch. We do. We have the Netflix thing, and then we just fill up her tablet full of movies.
Correct.
And Hannah has her own tablet as well. So both of them had their movies already downloaded. Because a kid they're not going to share in the revelry of cruising like you are. They need to be entertained constantly.
Yeah, they always need to have something to entertain them.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you had said that you bring cards, right?
I bring cards with me. Like a whole bunch of stuff just to entertain myself too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I try to not use electronics as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But of course, I'm always out like this filming.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I save my hard drive space for vlogs and pictures. Absolutely. And then whenever you're in port, traveling with kids, you especially have to be watchful because now you're in a foreign country.
Correct.
And if they have some ports, they just drop you off into the city. Some ports they drop you off, and it's like a fenced in, gated in area where none of the locals are allowed unless they work there and stuff. So you really have to be watchful. Know what kind of port you're pulling into. Is it a private island owned by the cruise company? Is it just dropping you into town like San Juan? Or is it a protected area like Amber Cove or something like that? And just be aware. You just have to be aware at all times whenever you're traveling with kids in a foreign country as well.
Yep, and then of course make sure they're always with you and they're not that far out of sight.
Mm-mm. Never out of sight.
Like never have them out of your sight.
Right.
And then you all come back to the ship together.
Yep.
Or whatever your excursion is going to be.
Safety is key for sure.
Yep. And then of course, naturally, also when you're also traveling, it's just not specified just to children. It's for everyone in general. If there's medications involved, make sure it's always in its original container.
Yes.
The way it comes. Because that will get questioned if it's not.
Now, as far as swimming on the cruise ship is concerned, there are some adult size, like life jacket type things that are swimming vests that they have for the adults, but there's also a bunch for the kids. There's like whole racks of swimming gear that you could put on your kid to make sure that they don't drown. If they don't know how to swim, I'd highly suggest you get one of those and put it on your kid, because you don't want your child to be in the pool, not knowing how to really get down. And I prefer to be in the pool when my kids are in the pool. That Correct. Way I'm 100% responsible. I don't let them go in the pool without me. Because there's other grown people in the pool, and that's just the bottom line. You go swimming with your kids, and that's the way I do it, is go swimming with them. Whenever I get out, they get out. And that's just the way that it's done. Make sure that they won't drown or just mainly get handled. Because I remember there was a cruise passenger as well. We keep on reporting these stories, and the more and more stories we report, the more aware I am on the cruise ship. You got to watch the crew, you got to watch the passengers. Everybody has to be watched.
Everybody,
you
can't let your guard down at all.
Because the second that you do, it's going to be an oopsie, and guess who's not going to be liable? The cruise line. They're going to find a way out of it.
They will always find, and like I believe I heard on Jay from the Ship Life. The only person that you can help you sue the cruise line is some lawyer in Miami, and they are the only ones that can deals with that type of lawsuits.
Right.
And it's going to cost a lot of money just to go through the pain and hassle just to sue the cruise lines.
And then they're going to come back on you and say, you as a parent should be 100% responsible. I agree. So that's why the stuff that's coming out during this show is 100% real. You have to be 100% responsible, because the cruise line is not.
Yeah, because
they're not.
The cruise lines have lawyers, and the lawyers have lawyers.
Well, not only that, their concern is getting you to where you're going safely. It's Correct. Not necessarily watching every little bitty nook and cranny of every little bitty thing. And your kids need to be your responsibility, not anyone else's. So awareness, you got to be aware at all times. There is, let me see. There is another thing too. There are kids menus at each and every dining venue as well, on cruise ships as well. I know that their kids menu needs to be expanded.
Yes.
I think it is, because a lot of these things that are on the kids menu are available on kids menus out here in the world. It's like you got nuggets, you got pizza, there's a fruit plate and a burger. Well, kids need a little bit more than that.
They need to have more variety for them.
Yeah, they do. But I know that when we were on the Prima, the local had 24-hour just food. I mean, it was amazing, because we could always find Hannah something to eat from the grown-ups menu. There's the kids section over here, but we could always find something that she liked. She would try it off on my plate and say, "Oh, I like that." or didn't. So I would encourage people to let the kids try some of the other stuff as well, instead of just relying on the kids menu, because that's the same kids menu that you're going to get here on a land-based restaurant. It's the same thing. Nuggets.
And allow them to dive into the grown-ups menu.
Mm-hmm.
It will also open up the avenue of them to try more things.
Yep.
And if they don't like it, they don't like it. It's fine.
Right.
But if they like it, then they may say, I want more.
One more thing to consider with kids is that the cruise ships and the whole cruise experience is going to be digitally based. And if you are an older person and don't know how to work this technology, lean strongly on the kids. They will not only be happy to, check into your dining venues and stuff like that, but they'll also be happy to show you as well how to use this technology. Allow them, some latitude. Allow them some latitude to help walk you through your new cruise experience, because cruising has changed.
Oh, it's changing.
Yeah.
Rapidly.
It's changed, and everything is based off of an app on your phone. There's not a lot of. I know they're bringing them back, the printed menus and stuff like that, but checking into venues, checking into dining is all done through the app. And get involved, get your kids involved with this, and it's a great avenue of communication as well between you and your children. It's like, that's the way to get them excited about the cruise, is get the app long before the cruise. Like, as soon as you book it, download the app, because a lot of times there'll be a cruise countdown, and then you can involve the kids like that. That way they get just excited for the cruise that you are.
Correct. Like when about a week or so ago, I was explaining to my mother about the Carnival's dining options.
Mm-hmm.
You got the early dining, which is 6:30, the late dining, which is 9:30, or anytime.
Right.
And I said, anytime is what we're used to, which is freestyle dining on Norwegian.
Correct.
So with anytime dining, you just have to go onto the app and say, hey, I'm here. You may only have to wait 20 minutes, if that, and in you go. Where with late or early dining, it's a set time dining. So I had to explain to her how it's done. And then she understood. So,
yep.
So I hope this time I'll be trying the anytime dining as my first time experience, as me doing it myself. Because when I was on the booze cruise with you, I was bouncing off of other people's anytime dining.
Right.
And I enjoyed it better than my own dining time I had.
Yeah, we made a decision that going forward from Booze 1.0, that we would be anytime dining on all of our sailings, because it is a rush and a hassle, especially with kids. If you're on early dining, to be ready at 6 to go into that dining room and do that. That is if you want to talk about a stressful time, that one is right there. Unless you have a deluxe ocean view stateroom on Carnival Cruise Lines, it has not one but 2 restroom areas where you can get ready, and that does really help families. But not all family ocean view staterooms have those. And I know it's not, and it's not a Carnival exclusive either. I think there's another cruise line that has a bath and a half, an extra area where you can get dressed for dinner. But we do really appreciate that deluxe ocean view.
Yep, and
because of that,
it definitely does help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, the way the way I'm always am is, I like the freestyle dining. I come and go as I please, because what's to say today you want to eat at 5, but tomorrow it may be 9 till 8.
Right, and it also depends on what time you leave port as well. If you're a late port leaver, then you don't want to have to turn around immediately and go to dinner. You want a little rest time in between. Also, if you have a family as well, you can take advantage of on Carnival what's called the Family Harbor Stateroom. It's all the way down on the very first deck that has staterooms, and among that deck there is, first of all, only Family Harbor people can be in this area. It's kind of like a restricted area. Um, and also, they have what's called a Family Harbor Lounge that has its own breakfast buffet downstairs in that lounge.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And there's in that lounge, there's also a family room where you could play board games. They're already in there. Throughout the day, I think that coffee and the standard drinks are available in that area as well. So you don't even have to go out of the Family Harbor area in order to, get ready in the morning or whatever. It's all down there for you.
Nice.
So yeah, traveling with kids has its perks. It really does.
It does.
Yep.
And would I give it up for anything else? Absolutely not, because I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's sharing the world with the kids, and that is the end result. All of these things that we talked about during the show were just things to be, things that deserve to be paid attention to and deserve to be followed. Because if you don't follow it, your cruise experience won't be as pleasant as it could be had you followed these simple rules. Just be aware at all times and know where your kids are.
And what they're up to.
And what they're up to. Because there are other cruise passengers vlogging about it. They're taking videos of your kids running up and down the corridors and, going and throwing pizza overboard. And I did see another video from the same Cruise Craze Instagram. Okay, go on their Instagram. There are some little kids just throwing stuff overboard. And the question is, bad kids or bad parents?
That is a good question.
Bad kids or bad parents? It's just like that's the first thing that people are going to look at. If you allow your kids to do those kind of things, maybe you might not want to jump on a cruise ship with them. But otherwise, if they're in your sights, if they're, if they're with you, then good. You can keep them from doing those kind of things as well. And your kids, if you know that they're going to be up to no good, don't let them sign themselves out of kids club. Don't let them go out with their friends on the Lido at midnight, and also, one important thing.
They also do curfew time.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Your children have to be indoors at 1 a.m. on Carnival. They have to be with a grown adult after that. And even so, they really should be in by 1 a.m. getting some rest. That's the way I look at it. My kids are little. They won't be up past 10, So
but by 1 a.m., if I'm not in bed, I should be in bed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Get ready for the next sea day or the next port day.
Because the next day has a whole new adventure.
Yeah.
It's a brand new chapter. What's the day going to bring you?
Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty much it on the kiddos, man. I knew I had to get around to Family Harbor, but I needed a cool segue into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is that Carnival does that, especially with the new ships, that Family Harbor Lounge and Family Harbor staterooms. I like it because it's exclusive access by only those people who occupy those kind of rooms. We haven't booked one yet, but when we do, we'll be sure to bring it to the channel. And I would be interested to know if any of the other cruise lines have these similar type of things, is like a family area, or whatever. I'm still training. I'm doing a whole lot of training in being a travel agent. So far, the family staterooms have been found on Carnival. But if I run into any more, I'll be sure to let you guys know.
Yeah, like I do have interest of checking out even that Family Harbor myself.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not traveling with family, but
Yep.
just check it out and bring it to you guys also,
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds very nice and interesting.
We cruised with a channel we all know and love is How We Cruise,
Yeah.
and they had a family harbor stateroom, and Brian was telling me about the lounge that they had down there, a little breakfast buffet and everything, the board games, it's all there, like they said it was going to be, and he said it's fabulous. You don't even have to go upstairs for coffee in the morning. It's all down in there with a full breakfast buffet. And I thought that was kind of cool. I'm thinking midday they might have some like little snacks or something like that, but I'm not sure. I didn't even ask about lunchtime.
Yeah. Well, imagine maybe like some pizza, some crackers,
Mm-hmm.
just small knickknacks.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it sounds like very fun and like explore the world with your children. Like,
Yes.
don't be afraid, and they will thank you many years down the road.
Yep.
Especially when you may not remember that you took them there. They'll
Yep.
go, "Hey, Pops, Ma, do you remember this?" and they're trying to bring up good old memories,
Mm-hmm.
and that will bring some joy to you. Or heaven forbid, if the tables happen to flip and you need to bring memories up for some happy memories for them, they will thank you for that too.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, but like I said, traveling with children, it's a lot of responsibility, but it is definitely well worth it.
Yep.
So,
And just never forget, kids have the tendency to kick your chair.
yeah,
Now I'm talking about other people's kids on the plane. That they don't necessarily have to be your children to get on your nerves, but just know that there are children traveling, folks, without kids, and do your best to at least give parents a smile whenever you see them struggling with their kids on the ship or on a plane or in the airport or something like that. Believe me, it means a lot to us.
it means a lot, and just be a little bit more patient with them. And even
Please.
when it comes down to even say time to board the plane,
Mm-hmm.
if you're able to, try to take advantage of using the family boarding time or people who need special assistance
Yep.
to board. That's what it's there for, to
Mhm.
give you more time so you're not rushed to get into your seat for them to close the doors and push back.
Yep.
Because everything's all on a tight schedule. And they built that extra time slot just for you guys
Yep.
to give yourself more time to get down there. Because the last thing you want to do is be rushed.
Yep.
So,
Something's going to get left behind.
and hopefully it's not the kids.
Oh my goodness.
Because unless that's your full intention, but I don't think that's what you want to intend on doing,
Nope.
as much as you sometimes wish it. But yeah, no, but that is the quick gist of traveling with kids.
Yes.
So
The rewards pay off in the end.
they definitely do.
No, and also immediately too, because you get to see your kid in another country, and it's like it warms your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing that you can do this for them, it's amazing. It really is.
It truly is. But yeah. But at the top of the hour, we're all gonna head on over and raid Tuber Chat, Connect, and Grow.
Nice.
If you guys want to be heading on over there, it's up to you. I just want to copy and so I can share that link with you guys. I can just remember how to copy it.
You're still on.
Do.
Get off right.
There we go. Come on. Try and copy it. Doesn't want to copy. Maybe I'm not doing all right.
User error.
More likely, bananas.
Banana. Yep.
Still learning how to use this new software. Brand new software.
Just hit the button.
Which button I'm supposed to hit?
Well, this one.
Oh, the chicken one?
Yes.
Okay.
Instead of this one.
All right. Oh, that didn't work. All right. I need to find that chicken again.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on.
All right. So let's try this way. There we go. Let's try this way. This way should be a lot easier. Come on. It doesn't want to work.
Okay. Well, you trying to share Tuber Chat show?
Yep. I'm trying to share the link.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can get it. Tuber Chat. And his next show is
At 9 o'clock today.
Oh, okay. Here it is. And then share. There it is.
Perfect. Thank you. And then you have to show me how that's done after. Because like I said, I'm still learning.
Okay.
Brand new software I'm working with. Moved over to the apples.
Yep.
So, but anyways, thank you all for coming on out to tonight's live stream.
Absolutely.
We will for sure see you in next week's live stream when we talk about, what did I set it as? Probably something about traveling. Has to be something about traveling. Let's take a look.
How to cruise with Rob.
Yes, drunk Rob.
Not necessarily drunk Rob.
Or is it non-drunk Rob?
See you later, Cruise Nuts.
See your cruise nuts? Yeah, it's going to be on about the benefits of taking a cruise. So that's going to be a goodie one. All the benefits. So once again, thank you all for coming out to tonight's live stream, and I will see you all in another live stream or wherever Travis may take us. Till then, bye for now.